May I now request your agent to come and pick the nomination paper for your signature confirming that you are now duly nominated.
So, the nominations have been done. The particular political aspirants who are vying for the largest position in the land have now been chosen by their different political parties. We have the National Unity Platform pushing Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. We have the National Resistance Movement pushing His Excellency and the incumbent Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. We have also Mugisha Muntu in his particular political party and the rest. Well, in this edition of Legal News Daily, I discuss a number of issues. What is going to be the conduct of these political aspirants moving forward? How much finances are they supposed to use? What should be their conduct when they are carrying out different political rallies? But most importantly, what is the future of all Ugandans moving forward? Because this is a very delicate time and period. So, welcome to Legal News Daily and discuss all of this moving forward. Hello everyone, welcome back to Legal News Daily. I'm your host Terry Kahuma on this channel, and like I always say, Legal News Daily is our daily legal news segment where we discuss all things national, international, political, social, but most importantly, legal. Well, we all know that there's a thin line between political and legal, and we all know that wherever there's politics, legal is always at the peripheral or at the back end of things. Well, straight to the point, we all know that now 6 particular candidates have been picked to be able to go ahead and campaign for the presidential seat. We have the incumbent President Museveni, we have Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, we have Mugisha Muntu, and the rest. We have the Presidential Elections Act, which governs or which gives guidelines and particular sections where the actual nominees or the people who are now vying for the presidential seat are now going to be able to be governed by. The Presidential Elections Act is specific, talks about a number of 5 things where the presidential nominees are going to be governed and how they should conduct themselves. Number 1, we have the campaign conduct. Now, it's no secret that after the nominations have been done and these particular candidates are now going to start rallies and going for different nominations and vying for the voters' vote to be able to be elected as president, they should be able to conduct themselves in the best way possible. Now, this is provided for still under the Presidential Elections Act. Now, they should be able to conduct themselves in the best way possible, under which no violence comes out of these particular rallies, no harm comes out of these particular rallies, but most importantly, they should conduct themselves in the best way as a normal presidential candidate should be able to conduct themselves. The framers of the Presidential Elections Act will basically state that if you're vying for the biggest position of the land, then you should be able to conduct yourself as a president should conduct himself. That's number 1. Then also, campaign finance. If you've been nominated by your particular party, and now the Electoral Commission has now said that, okay, Bobi Wine, you're now being moved to be able to vie for the biggest position of the land, or if it's Mugisha Muntu or Nandala Mafabi, whoever it is, then you should be able to prepare your budget. State that I'm going to be able to use 2 billion for my campaigns. So if I'm going into different rallies, let's say Ntungamo, Soroti, Gulu, then you should be able to provide particular financing for each of the particular districts you're going to be able to go and rally for. And also you should be able to state that this is the budget for maybe amenities like drinks, hotel, all of that. Everything should be publicly known, especially by the Electoral Commission. Then we have also campaign time or period. Now this particular aspect governs how or the particular time period in which every political aspirant for the presidential seat is going to be able to be bound by. So if this is September and all the nominees have been nominated and have been vetted and tried by the Electoral Commission, then if it's stated that in between September and February, when the particular elections are going to be held, then that's about a period of 5 months or 6 months. So therefore, they should be able to state that your campaign should be able to stop by 30th January. So if it is Mugisha Muntu or Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, then each person is bound by a specific period of time. You should not exceed a particular period of time, because the Electoral Commission by that time states that if they've given you 6 months to campaign, surely by that time, the voters already know whether they're going to vote for you or not. And then lastly, we also have dispute resolution. Now, the Presidential Elections Act also states ways in which these different presidential nominees are going to be able to resolve disputes. Let me give you an example. If Bobi Wine and let's say Mugisha Muntu are in a particular area, let's say in Ntungamo, and their funds clash, or maybe the two of them clash. Let's say if Bobi Wine had said that I'm going to be in Ntungamo by 9 p.m. on November 16th, 2025, and Mugisha Muntu comes at a particular time. If a dispute arises within that time, then the Presidential Elections Act gives particular guidelines under which these disputes are going to be resolved. And most of the times, these disputes are resolved by alternative dispute resolution. Now, we have things like mediation, arbitration, conciliation, but if things go to the worst, then they'll actually have to go to court. And there will now be things like presidential petitions, things like that, presidential election petitions. So all of those are stipulated under the Presidential Elections Act. I've not gone so much deep into them because I just wanted to give you bits and tips of what Uganda should expect moving forward, now that this is the biggest talk right now in between September and 2026, when the elections are going to be governed. Now, last but not least, the fact that all the nominees have been given their particular places, and now that we now know that there are 6 candidates who are now vying for the biggest position of the land, then the Electoral Commission is now going to paint, or is going to put and gazette all of the names of the nominees who have gone through. So if there are 6 candidates, then we are now going to be open. It's going to be open. It's going to be in the know that these are now the particular candidates who are now going to be vying for this position, and we now know who they are, what they stand for, what their political parties are, but most importantly, which laws govern these particular candidates moving forward. So I wanted to give you all of that moving forward. This is going to be one of the most decisive elections moving forward. The elections of 2026, they're going to govern a lot of things. There's been a big build-up from the past few months until now, but let's just see where everything's going to go moving forward. I'm yours truly, Terry Kahuma. Please let me know what to talk about in a future video. I'm yours truly. Until next time, I'll see you. Bye-bye.